What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reel Down. I'm your host, Jimmy. Got Mr. G over there wearing his infamous scooter shirt.
Yeah,
that's I won't tell that story. Yeah, I was gonna say I won't tell that story here, but the people that know about it, it's a good story. You should hit him up though. Hit him up in the messages if you want him to tell you. Maybe he will. I doubt it, but maybe.
Depends on who it is. I'll be selective with that.
But now,
you got the right security clearances. I can let you know.
You're lucky that my camera didn't film that, man. I can't believe I screwed that up. But anyway, we're back this week for another good show. I missed last week, which sucked, but was coming down to baby time in my neck of the woods, and all sorts of stuff happening at work that's just inconveniently timed with.
Yeah, you missed out, man. We had a good show last week.
Yeah, I heard.
With Russ and Josh.
I listened to a little bit of it. I still got to go back and finish it. I've been so out of the fishing loop, man. I finally got back into podcasting, but listening to them, but I just can't listen to fishing podcasts right now for some reason. I tried listening to a couple and I just can't stick with it. So I've been listening to, there's a couple special forces guys podcasts I like listening to, and gun gear review stuff, just current affairs, just other stuff, which ends up being just depressing to listen to, especially when it's current affairs. You're just okay, let's just prepare for the whole world to end is what it sounds like. But I don't know what's got me on that road lately, but I've been way down that road listening to
the dark stuff. You're just ready for the
not the dark stuff, just they had the big UAP UFO hearing in Washington, so I went back and listened to that for some reason. That stuff doesn't even really interest me that much, but I was like, why not? But then trying to get ready for our state championship that's Saturday.
This Saturday on
Lake Weiss.
I guess you're doing it on Coosa or something like that.
Yeah, Weiss Lake on the Coosa River. It is
nice.
Crappie fishing capital of the world, and it is going to be a grinder for bass fishing. We've got an ABT tournament there, bunch of boats. Couldn't do anything about it with the way all the seasons end at random times for the Alabama clubs. This is the soonest date that I could do it. Had the Chamber of Commerce on board, helped us out most of the year, hit me up this week, and backed out on a few things last minute, which kind of sucks because we were having food provided and gonna have
that really sucks.
Oh yeah, I was pretty mad, but I can't. I mean, wasn't paying for it, so I can't really be frustrated with them. I just wish I had known before now. But I got a lot of sponsor stuff in for the event, and I'm hoping I can work it out where everybody that shows up goes home with something. That's how I'm spending my Friday, is laying everything out and seeing how I can. Because I got big shout out to Lakewood Products and Sarah and them. She told me that they would sponsor the event, but they were sorry they couldn't do the title sponsor thing and do a captain's bag, and then sent me enough stuff to do it anyway. So I'm not. I was like, okay, well, thanks. But we got a lot of that going on, and it's just I found out today that somehow I missed an entire feeding river, so I had to go in and set boundaries on it today. I missed an entire
Man, you slacking on that map study, I guess.
Well, Weiss Lake is so where it sits on the state line. The lake kind of runs down, and you follow the Coosa.
Yeah.
And the Chattooga River, I don't know how I missed that whole river. And I was so focused because we opened up the boundaries all the way into Georgia so that the guys could get away from the bass boats if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was so focused on guys were sending me possible, look at this as a boundary, look at that. I completely missed the that one river. So got that figured out today. I found a low head dam that's fully intact that we'll use as a hard boundary, but it's just been stressful.
Very nice.
And I'm not even getting to go down there and enjoy any of it. I'm going down about 2 hours before weigh-in, and then I'll do weigh-in and come home. Because again, we're 3 weeks out from the baby, so I don't need to be away anymore.
You can't be.
If I could find somebody to run the event for me, I wouldn't even be there, to be honest, because I don't I don't know. It stresses me out just thinking about it. Just
Oh
'cause.
yeah,
So,
I get it. I know.
but
A few months ago.
yeah. So,
Uh,
but what about you, man? What have you been up to?
I just got back from California yesterday.
Work trip or pleasure trip?
Uh, pleasure trip, kind of. It was for a wedding, one of my buddy's weddings.
Oh, nice.
I spent an extra day or so on either side of the weekend out there, and one of my other friends out there took me out on his bass boat, and we went and fished the Delta. And
Ah, sweet.
he gave me a master class on punching while I was out there, and
You stick any donkeys?
a lot of like 2 to 3 pounders. I lost a giant in the grass there, and they had some like really healthy grass there, and lots of. It's crazy how many different types of species of grass they got. Uh, but yeah, it was fun, dude. When we caught him like almost all day, and he was like, "Man, this is one of the best days on the Delta I've had all year, like numbers wise." We didn't
That's
catch a
awesome.
ton of like big fish. We caught one like 4.5. Um, but that was it. Almost all punching. We caught some on a buzz bait. We caught some frogging. We caught some on a drop shot, a spook, and a lipless and a chatterbait. So it was kind of like whatever you wanted to throw in there,
Heck yeah.
if
I
you're in the right
finally
spot.
I finally went back out since I broke my wrist. Like I've been going through that. I went out weekend before last for like a few hours finally, and it only hurts if I'm really trying to send a cast. Like
Mm,
if I just like kind of flip around
yeah,
or small casts, it was fine. But I've been kind of
do some physical therapy
therapy.
on
Yeah,
it.
I started working out again, and it's basically every time I go and do something that hurts my wrist, it's like it doesn't hurt after that.
Mm,
So the fishing hurt a little bit while it was. Had less pain the next day, just in general. Did a workout the other day, same thing. It's like I'm pushing out scar tissue or like something. I don't know,
that
but
doesn't sound fun.
no, it's getting there. So, but it figures it's right here at the end of season. Deer season's already started, so the next thing on my list to see if I can do with my wrist yet is pull my bow back so I can go shoot
Yeah,
Nebbian
I don't
again.
imagine you have a whole lot of time for that coming up.
Well, no, it's basically like I need to go in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And you
My
better be,
buddy,
like, within 20 minutes of the house, basically.
yeah, it's 20 minutes from here. My buddy's got a feeder up behind his shop. Said there's
And still
usually
have
10
signal.
does
You're gonna
standing
have to
out
leave a
there.
trail cam back at the house.
Yeah,
Watch your wife
yeah.
walk around.
We'll be watching the opposite end.
Yeah.
But he said he's got like 10 doe that show up at like 5:30 every day, no matter what's happening with the weather. And I
Nice.
can literally just like roll up the shop door, pop one, and then call it a day. So that'll
Yeah.
probably be the extent of my hunting this year. So,
Hey, getting out there at least.
yeah, I
Getting
might not
some
even
meat in
wear
the
camo
freezer.
or anything. I might just like go out there in my blue jeans
Flannel.
and just.
Yeah.
But so back to the show this week. We've got a fun episode. Kind of way earlier than we normally get to do it. And
Mhm.
so everybody that's kept up with the show for a long time knows that as the season starts to go down, we cover your AOI guys, your championship winners, state championships, all that stuff, and then going to the off seasons, we talk to directors, people in the industry, have our Christmas break, and then as the season starts back off, a little bit more of the same thing, and then we get our schedule announcements. Well, Bassmaster threw a big old wrench into that really quick, and Steve-O and the guys went ahead and dropped the 2024 Bassmaster Kayak schedule, and we've got
Sir.
those boys here with us tonight to talk about it. So without further ado, we got Mr. Bassmaster, Steve Owens, and Sassy Dan. What's up, fellas?
Sassy Dan might give us a little surprise too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. With another schedule drop.
Oh, okay. You got me excited. I thought we were about to get something like R-rated in this thing.
We'll save that for after hours.
Ah, sweet. Well, what's going on, fellas?
Doing good, man. What about y'all?
I was gonna say, Dan, I think you're muted here. I see you
I
trying
was.
to talk. Yeah.
New
No
move.
response. Yeah.
Well, Steve-O, give us a brief introduction on yourself. You've been on our show numerous times, so most of the kayak world knows you, but give us a brief introduction, and then Dan, we'll pass it over to you and let you tell everybody that don't know who you are about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Steve Owens. I'm a tournament director in Tennessee. Helped start Tennessee Valley Kayak Anglers about 7 or 8 years ago, and then got into tournament directing on the KBF stuff, and then we just continued to grow everything else, and then got brought in to help start the Bassmaster Kayak series, and I did that for a year, and then had to back out due to time commitment, and this beautiful gentleman there on the bottom left and I started just messing around with the Tennessee Bass Nation because, as we started Bassmaster, I understood there's a Tennessee Bass Nation that's kind of a feeder system on the state level. And so Daniel and I looked it all over, and we were just kind of like, man, we can make because when KBF kind of didn't come around here much anymore, we had our grassroots in cast. And then, the Hobies and the Bassmasters up here. So there was a void in between of that semi-pro, if you want to call it that. So we just started messing around with it with some buddies, and all of y'all's ideas that help us kind of came together, and we started Tennessee Bass Nation, and then took over Georgia Bass Nation. And then as luck and God would have it, I was able to leave my job this year and take over the Bassmaster series and help rebuild it. And that's what I do now is tournament direct, and couldn't do it without Daniel. And then Jimmy and I have worked together in the backgrounds talking about quite a bit of stuff and in the past. And Garrett, you're part of cast too, and we talk about a lot too. So man, it's just a community effort. I just kind of get to be in the front of it, but literally everything that we do is a culmination of a lot of ideas that we all talk about together. So I don't do it alone. Definitely. Really don't.
Yeah.
So thank all of y'all for what you do to help me,
Well, we think you're a good ambassador for the sport, and we appreciate all your work as well. All of us
Absolutely.
do. Yeah.
Well, now we'll talk to Dan, who's probably the one that actually does everything. So
I just talk. He does everything else.
Yeah. So, I bass fished as a kid and teenager leading up, and then there's a long pause into it. And I met Steve at a Tennessee game. He's a big Alabama fan. No offense, Garrett there.
Hey,
but
hey, no worries.
No offense. Anyway, so we linked up.
Jimmy just leaned back like he's getting ready to get into a story here.
I was just waiting.
Yeah. So me and Steve-O linked up through a mutual friend, and I hadn't fished in years, and I loved it. And so I was like, I saw Steve-O's post. I was like, man, kayak fishing looks like something good to get into. So I ended up buying a cheap kayak, and I go out with him, and he said, hey, jump in this pedal drive. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I jump in. I'm like, man, I wish I had this. He said, I'll sell it to you. And he's had hooks in me ever since. So, kind of got into the TVKA stuff, and, helped me start, hey, judge these fish. And then all of a sudden I'm told I'm a director in our local cast club, TVKA. And I'm like, okay, when did this happen? And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let's do this Tennessee stuff. I was like, all right, let's do this. And so he's like, hey, do you want to be the secretary of cast? And I'm like, he's just digging these hooks into me and just, pulling me along this whole way. So yeah, here we are. So I got to be the TVK director, secretary of cast, and help him with some of the Bassmaster stuff, and get to direct a lot of the Tennessee Bass Nation stuff with Steve. So yeah, here I am. So mediocre angler and now a director, thanks to Steve.
For anybody that doesn't know, that keeps hearing about cast, we talked about it in previous shows, but it's a collective of all of the clubs in Tennessee's. They follow the same guidelines, same rules, come together for a championship. And if you've not fished in a Tennessee club before, or even if you've just been visiting, that is, in my opinion, what clubs should strive to do as far as like fluidity. I can speak for Alabama. I've been a director in Alabama. I currently don't club direct, but I direct the championship for the state. And like we strive to do that because we see the popularity, the fluidity, it seems to be very smooth. I'm sure there's a lot of bumps in the underside, but we try to model after that and work our way up to what cast has become. And I think a lot of other clubs, other big states should, or even small states with just multiple clubs should, strive to be something like that. Y'all have done a really good job with that. And all the other directors, Garrett, you're CTK, or you were, I don't know if your wife's going to let you do that anymore.
But, I'm stepping down to be the assistant director now. So letting Jesse kind of take the reins with it. I'll still be there to help him out.
One of the biggest things that like I've noticed with cast is the uniformity of, I get to be privileged enough to help write rules and write them to where they're not ambiguously enough where somebody can get by with stuff. But and no offense to Georgia anglers, love them, and I get to judge some of the Georgia Bass Nation stuff with Steve. But the anglers on the Tennessee side, there's less open mouth deductions. Because they go to local trails, they know what to expect. They know, they get told what the rules are. They get shown the rules, and it helps a lot in basically preparing a lot of these anglers to fish a Hobie event, a Bassmaster event, or Tennessee Bass Nation event throughout the series. It's pretty fantastic.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, a lot of those rules, like you're saying, are reciprocal with like Tennessee Bass Nation rules and the Bassmaster rules. There's going to be some kind of nuances here and there that are a little different, but for the most part, the broad part of the rules that everybody's got to follow, I guess.
Yeah, that's something we did was incorporate the scoring to make the scoring standard as far as basically, to our knowledge, obviously all the national events, but anywhere you go, that's your criteria for scoring in a kayak tournament. So that because Alabama used to do it just different. No hands on the fish, restraining device allowed, open mouth. Just all sorts of stuff.
That board as you want.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I always forget about that one. But just all sorts of stuff. It's just we finally changed all that, and like you said, there's certain rules that like our state's really big into the backwaters and being able to use a kayak as it's made, really creek crawl with them. There's stuff like that will probably never change in our state. Like you encroach on these guys' skinny water, and it's just bad news, man.
Yeah, they're up in arms.
It literally. There's current arguments going on about it right now. So, but yeah,
we get that Tennessee too.
Oh, I bet, because y'all got way more of it than we do. Like, I applaud y'all for being able to make everyone, well, not everyone, but make as many people happy as possible. But so let's first we'll start with, I don't know, we'll let y'all do it. Dan might have a surprise drop for us, and we can save the national for later. We can do the national now and save the other one for later. It's however y'all want to do it.
You pick, Steve-O.
Do what?
You pick. What's
I'll do the
Tennessee
national because there's not as much, but like Tennessee, we got a lot to talk about. So I'll just knock this out if you want.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna talk, but I'm gonna throw the y'all go ahead and start talking about it. I'm gonna find the graphic because I just had it.
Okay.
Schedule for 2024.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
I
exciting.
didn't send you the Bassmaster one.
I also wanted to ask you before we get into that. Is this your first full season running it now for Bassmaster?
Kind of, sort of, because the first year when Dwayne called me and I was offered the ability to help, we were building it. So it was myself, Tyler Cole, Patrick Malone, Juan Nunez, and then Ben Smith, who a lot of people don't know, brilliant dude. He runs Mountain State Kayak Anglers, which for those of you that don't know, Mountain State Kayak Anglers in West Virginia is where Matt Ball, Jody Quee, Jed Plunkett, and I mean, heck, fire probably 24 hammers. What's his name? Jamie Dennison and used to fish it. But Mountain State Kayak Anglers 10 years ago was averaging 100 anglers.
Wow.
And so he came in, and we really did kind of take the cast rules because they're pretty basic and simple, and that's how we wrote the Bassmaster rules. And then so I ran the first Bassmaster Kayak event on Logan Martin along with Daniel and Bethany.
That was fun.
Remember we went to Birmingham? Yep, Jim Davis won it. What was it, 230 something anglers or whatever?
A whole bunch.
How long ago was that now? Like 4 or 5 years ago?
That was 2020.
Wasn't it?
No, it's 2020 because we had the Bassmaster Classic was in Birmingham that year, and that was the year that like everybody got sick, but nobody knew it was COVID yet.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
That was 20.
Yeah, I knew it was that time, but I can't tell you a year. I'm awful with dates, years, directions, how to do everything. But so anyway, I did that one, and then helped the season go along, and then I ran the Chickamauga event. And then I got COVID at the Chickamauga event. As a matter of fact, closed out the season, and then
I got a hug with him and didn't get COVID somehow.
yeah. And John Ferguson sat across the table from me for 30 seconds, and his wife hated me for 2 years because he got COVID. So go figure. Yeah, because old Sassy Dan cashed a check there. Tyler Cole won it. Yeah. And so, and I went ahead and I got the schedule booked for the next season, and COVID hit full force, like you said. Around the following year when it went to the complete lockdown jump, John Stewart and them had to just basically scrap that schedule and put a whole new one all together. And then I was just like, man, I just didn't have the time to take off and work for it. So this, to answer your question, no, it's not my first year, but my first year of handling it all. Yes. So
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I wanted to commend you on a full season and how it's gone this year. I feel like it's had a lot of growth this season, and I feel like most of the events I've seen have run smooth and
a lot of positive.
Seem like awesome events. Like they have awesome turnouts and solid limits put up to the whole board almost. So it was a cool season.
We got lucky, and I appreciate that from both of y'all. We got lucky a lot of times. We had some weather in some, and y'all know the Gunnersville one was awful at the very beginning during practice. And
I mean, Garrett's around with a tornado.
Yeah, that's right.
Like legitimately.
Yeah, that's right. And so, but it's all went good. And in all the events, like Daniel said, with the Tennessee anglers doing such a good job, we had very, very little deductions. Now, granted, the Bassmaster Series has brought in a lot of brand new anglers. A lot of people showing up have never fished in a kayak tournament, period. Wow. And hopped right in and did well. I mean, we had one poor gentleman on Hartwell. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We had one poor guy on Hartwell. I can't remember his name, but early on in the morning, I mean, this dude's sitting on like 90 inches in an hour and a half. Every one of his fish are backwards.
Oh, God, I remember that.
So we got him corrected, and he catches 4 really good fish, no identifier, something like that. So, I mean, it was just awful. I felt so bad for the guy. I wanted to give him his money back, but I mean, it was it's a learning curve, but
I think Logan we won't do it again, that's for sure.
Yeah, the one on Logan Martin, I wish we had this picture still, and it's gone forever. But there was a gentleman that caught about a 4-pounder, and somehow he got it through the elastic of the tourney tag.
Yep.
I mean, it looked like me in a size small shirt. I mean, it was just, it was awful. Yeah, and yeah, it was one of the best things I've ever seen ever. But we had a real good season. I mean, and we got some things we all need to clean up, like, Russ addressed some things the other night that, we have to work on. Just a few things to make sure that, everybody that shows up can show up, and communication is the biggest thing because, of all of that stuff that was brought up, literally I had one text from a competitor that was just F-bombing about some stuff, and it's fine. He's my friend. But other than that, it was a whole bunch of fourth and fifth hand information making it my way. So,
yeah,
I took it upon
telephone
myself. I
game
started
going on.
yeah. And I then, when it all settled, I reached out to every one of those people that I had found in that loop, so to speak, and addressed it all there. But the key thing is we can't operate like that and have high level events because number one, tournament director has to have the information to be able to handle infractions or things that are done wrongly, whether they're on purpose and unintentional. The other part is that rumor mill group kind of stuff that goes on. All it does is create senseless slander against people that don't deserve it off of assumptions or hunches.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that we have to tighten up and clean up, and we will.
Sure.
There's not a set of rules that makes that kind of stuff happen. It's just communicating to you all, letting you to say, hey, Garrett, when you fish, if you see something that you're unsure of, call me, because we don't want it to come up 4 days later and find out that someone had cheated or someone was inadvertently had a rules infraction that helped them win. We don't want that later on. We want to handle it right then and there. And I can assure you, even if it's a person that did it inadvertently, they want to be called out on it so that they don't do it anymore. Because what if they make it to the second day and all their stuff gets disqualified when we could have stepped in and helped something? Because not every infraction is a kicked out of the tournament penalty.
Yep.
We have time penalties.
Fish DQ or something like that. Where
simple
they
stuff
still have
like
time
that.
to make up for it if you catch it right then and there.
Right. But the main thing is that if you are going to text a person about something in the tournament or make a phone call, number one, you need to check communication rules about outside stuff. The other thing is you really need to stop and think, what am I doing? Do I want this even handled, or am I just venting? So if you want it handled for the sanctity of the trail series, then the director is who you call immediately. I'm not going to call Jimmy and ask his opinion. Man, do you think this guy's doing this or this or this? Because Jimmy is at home, sleep deprived because he's having to burp a baby at 2 a.m. soon. So and that's the thing. We've got to tighten that up. Tournament stuff happens within the tournament, and it happens with anglers in the tournament and administration that's within the tournament, not anything else. And that's how we address things that need to be addressed the right way,
Yeah.
So,
sure.
But having said that, we had almost 500 unique anglers in the series this year. Blue million fish caught. I mean, Susky had 1,730 fish, 146 people.
We were a little bit busy.
Yeah. Derek Brundle said, Massachusetts angler. What was it, Daniel? I don't remember if you caught it on the awards, or maybe he told me this off air, but he caught something like 30 fish.
Oh, yeah.
That he could not cull an 18-incher with. And they were all in the 17 plus range. They weren't 14 inchers. Yeah.
Fly me there now.
Catching,
I
50, 60 fish.
So I wonder what the no limit event that happened earlier this year there would have been like at this one. Like if you caught 30 17 inchers.
No, it would have been ridiculous. It would have been ridiculous. And I was telling Daniel, it was almost like everybody talks about river magic and the mystique of things. Good grief. Everybody was coming up typical like they do. Man, you should have put it here. You should have done this. You should have put more tree. You should have put more shade on this bank so I could fish it. Just all kinds of stuff. It's typical stuff, and it's okay because I love it. And so Barry Davis come up. Everybody knows Barry. And Barry's great. He come up. He said, "Well, I know I can catch a limit about 1,700 places, but they're all going to be 14 inchers." And then boom, right out of the gate, he sticks some big fish. And so everybody was catching 12, 13, 14-inch fish everywhere during practice. They weren't catching super big ones. Some people were. And then they were like, man, it's going to rain. It's going to be cold. That's going to destroy it. And I'm sitting here in my mind thinking like we think, oh, hell no. Cold, rainy weather, Del Hollow, Tim's Ford, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything because I didn't want to influence anybody's mentality. Because you get run out on a rail for that too, I guess. But so I kept quiet, and that morning, me and Cisneros went to the launches, and you could just feel it, man. At 3 of these events, I've went out to the ramps during the tournament, and I'm not making it up or just because I'm a part of it, but dude, you can just feel it. People are together. They're there to fish a tournament and have a good time, and it's not to overstay. It's something special, man. You can just feel it. You can just feel the energy from people, the vibe, and they caught the fire out of them. And so I was proud of those people, man. They did a lot of good work. So
heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool to see an event that pops off like that. I mean, you've had a couple this year that did that, and you had that one, and you had Possum Kingdom where you had 2 people over 200 inches.
Yeah, first time that's ever happened. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
no, it's been a heck of a memorable year from the the success at the events on the angler side, but seeing the angler response to like the changes that have been made with Bassmaster, the participation, when you look back to this time last year and there was a lot of questions, oh, this tournament entity had an average of this, and these had a couple bad ones, and KBF's doing this, and like this year, it's like y'all have Bassmaster and Hobie have literally just stood out above the rest, like completely. But the change and the upswing of the Bassmaster following has been like awesome to watch. Because for me, it's kind of an "I told you so" thing. Like I said it last year when Steve-O was announced, I was like, "This is what it's going to be. People follow this guy," and people were like, "I don't know. I don't think that it's going to change anything."
It's already
like,
such a well-established brand that it's like easy.
To
take a well-established brand and someone you trust, and then you're in.
Put it in the right hands, and it's just gonna flourish.
So with all those changes, and he had a great year. I've got the graphic right here, so let's talk and walk through the 2024 schedule.
All right. Yeah, we again this year, I lobbied really hard because I wanted more events, because I don't like not being able to go to an area, because I feel like if we had 2 more events, I would be able to get something in the Midwest again and go to the true, Northeast, Jersey, New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire, all that area. But as they mentioned, we had a really good tournament average. I think we improved 86% in attendance. And so we proved that, we feel like we've got the formula right. And it wasn't all by myself. AJ and I sat down and we vetted out some rules to where we could have some singularity in a lot of stuff. And we worked together on everything anyway. I mean, he's the one that pushed me to do these things instead of just staying, at the cement plant for the rest of my life, having a great job. So, but Hank and the guys at Bassmaster proved they do know what they're talking about. They said, well, if you go too big, too quick, you're just going to spread your anglers out more. The economy's not great. So I had to revert back to this year planning from last year. I need to pick 5 events and 5 areas geographically where I know there's a body of anglers that can bring us 100, and then we shoot for the moon and have 130 to 160 travel, to end up with 150-ish at least in a tournament. So anyway, that's what we did this year. Hat in hand. I hate it to the people that we can't service this year, but I'm just continue to, like Jimmy said, buy in, watch what we're doing, and just see the results, and we'll get it there eventually. The boats have been around, doing this 50, 75 years. We're really just getting this on the heels of KBS, what they've done in the past, and Hobie as well. We're able to catapult this, to what it needs to be as a sport, along with them too. So anyway, I did my research, talked to all the anglers, and, reached out. Actually, they reached out to us. Lake Murray, Bassmaster's got a big history with them. And that time of year is going to be, from what I've told and gathered, and there's been some tournaments from other entities there in the past, that time of year, there's some big fish caught,
I think there was a Hobie out there this year. Was that right?
There's KBF the last
KBF.
couple of years. Yeah, he had Chad's got a history with not who we're working with, but a different area. And then yeah, man, it's just, and Vinny and the guys at Queen City and the other clubs in the North and South Carolina area, they really truly support Hobie and Bassmaster stuff when it comes to the area.
And they have a huge kayak following there. Anyway, like Vinny and them do a great job.
There's your 130 anglers right there.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah. Like to put it in perspective, Hartwell last year, I think we had 169, 170. And that was, now last year, you got to remember the way I had to drop a schedule in. We had our first event, and then boom, championship, and then boom.
Yeah.
Lake Murray. So we got our Hartwell, but on Hartwell, like Vinny's club doesn't allow motors. So he's sitting there with 115 anglers, and 8 or 10 of them fish Bassmaster because they chose to skip. Skipping a club event up there where you guaranteed $1,500 first place, Angler of the Year money, and all that's really hard to do. So we appreciated their support a lot. But Vinny and I had talked, and he brought up a very good point. By them not having motors, it's not really adding to. So what we chose to do was make certain that we're deconflicted on the schedule, so that now, because those anglers do have motors at Fish's Club, they just don't use them in tournaments. So now, they can be free to fish Lake Murray and use their motor, and it be no conflict to Queen City. And hopefully we can get, I would love, and it's hard. It's not easy to run a 200 angler tournament. I know we all have to an extent, and then Daniel's in all of them with me. Yeah. You sit around all day, and not in a negative way. You literally, your job is to sit and wait on something to happen. Because that's what makes, to be honest, we can all judge fish and put together schedules, but handling what happens when it happens is what sets us all apart with one another. But and so I'd love to have a 200 plus at this one too. I think the timing for it would be great. The lake can handle it, and then I think the Savannah River feeds into it. So, and then kind of like what you mentioned, earlier, with there was a little bit of a knee jerk and a misconception when we did the launch list that, especially a lot of the Alabama guys, because I've talked to them, well, you're cutting out the rivers and this and this and this. No, the ramp list is there because we can't know where all the public stuff is unless we mark it. And secondly, there's never a gray area anymore because you have a launch provided that you can't be in rules violation of. And then the other thing is if you go and look at all these tournaments we had this year, I painstakingly went as far as I could up to make sure I didn't find landlocked fish, and there's where your launch was. So there was tons and tons of skinny water. But again, that's progress. You have to see it before you understand it, and now they all do, and so we're all good. But I just didn't want them to think that anybody was trying to be targeted or any group of fishermen or whatever. Like right now, Lake 10 Killer, the championship, I'm looking up that creek arm as far as I can go to where it looks like you're not having to drag over every 5 foot to get to water, because I want you to have what you like to fish. And then, moving on, and y'all have to skip the needle because, I get rolling, but
I'm here for it.
That's all right.
Trying to make sure we
so
keep
we're starting the season at Lake Murray.
So that was 10 minutes there.
This
next between that, we got the championship right before the next event.
March 2021, again in conjunction with the Classic. We'll do that. Hosted by Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And then when we get finished there, and I think we feel like we spaced them out a good amount of time, to where if you're not fishing all the series, if you're just fishing hours primarily, then you get to recoup some money and some home time. But then we're going back to Possum Kingdom in April. Talking with Guillermo and Duke Tran and some of those guys down there, I had it written down. We had 40 22-inch plus bass or 21-inch plus bass, I think.
I had the stat somewhere. It was like 46 or something like that. Over
we had half a dozen 23 inchers or something like that too. It was stupid. It's made up numbers. Nobody believes it if they don't click on the X. But and like you said, we had the 200-inch club guys, and so we're going to get back there in that time of year. There's more options to fish. there's more options to fish. It's not just the typical summertime bite like what we had this last go around. So
I think you would maybe be able to hit some of the spawn. I mean, maybe on the tail end of it in Texas, but you might be able to hit some of the like spawning fish and stuff.
Those fish are going to be so big that time of year.
Yeah,
it's going to.
I know.
Oh,
you might
Texas fishing small to begin with, man.
True, like lunkers, share lunkers come out of there at that time.
Yeah. That'll be great.
There is one tournament that I missed, and it's out of Hell's Gate, which is a gorgeous place down there. And it's a yearly thing. And actually, our camera boat guy, he's in the tournament, but it's only like 100 or less boats, so it's not anything crazy. So, and then when we get done there, you're gonna get a month break, skip Mother's Day and all that. Did a good job of that, and we're gonna go back to Guntersville again, where we had 234.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And at a good time on Guntersville, I usually find spawning fish in May on Guntersville.
It doesn't matter. He didn't catch them, but he knows where they're at.
Yeah, I know where they're at.
He's throwing frogs the whole time.
Yeah, I can go hit him in the head with something for 2 hours.
We laugh about that, but 2 years ago, that's what me and him did. I threw a frog for a solid 8 hours that day.
Yeah,
in the middle of May, and was wearing them out. But no, that'll be a good one. I know there's some talk with the Alabama clubs about trying to maybe do something in conjunction, or do like a super event again. So that one's going to pull a bunch of people.
Yeah, and the good thing, like we all know about Guntersville, it's literally one of those where you have to purposefully take it off a schedule because it fishes so good. I really be young. We all live close there to it because Daniel and I are just an hour and a half from our juice too.
Oh yeah,
dude, you can fish it all year round. There's literally like maybe 1 month out of the year that you don't want to go fish it. Now, other than that, you can just go fish it and catch fish a lot of times. The eelgrass does suck. Spoke with them recently on that, and they're working with biologists from other lakes that have eelgrass to work on getting rid of it without just frying the entire lake to get rid of it. So
yeah.
I
think they should purposefully drop a ton of hydrilla just to kill all the eelgrass. That's a good idea in my book.
After dealing with the eelgrass this year, this is the worst I've ever seen it. I'm perfectly fine with it. I thought I hated hydrilla mats, trying to get places. No, eelgrass can. If you haven't, for anybody listening to this, if you've never seen a picture that any of the bass boat guys or kayak guys have posted of pulling your trailer out of the water, your trailer will have 100 pounds of eelgrass on it. And I'm not exaggerating. Not at all. I saw a guy pull the axle off of his little single axle trailer because there was so much of a mat. Obviously old rusted redneck trailer, but still.
I lost one of my Hobie fins the last Guntersville event from eelgrass getting matted up in it, and I just kept powering through it, and it just finally ripped one of them off. And I was like, "Oh God!"
It takes all things.
Yeah. That eelgrass can get expensive.
Well, Lake Guntersville would be killer. I would probably say maybe if it's not your biggest event of the year, I think it'll be your second biggest event of the year, participant wise. And then back to Susky.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there at Guntersville, hanging out at scooters.
Yeah, that would be all you're doing because you got a kid, man. You got to go back home.
Dancing at scooters. He's got to get that side money to pay for that kid.
Yeah.
On that pole.
So when are yours is already here, Garrett?
Yeah, he's 2.5 months old now.
Got you. I thought we'd text about that. And then Jimmy's will be here in a month.
Like 3
weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll bring it with us. And
yeah. I've already I was so excited when you dropped the schedule, and then I was like, yeah, well, I probably ain't making any of these. I'll at least come and hang out and say hey and give all y'all a hug, but that's probably about all I get to do.
Well, hey, here's tournament directors thinking it worked, Garrett, for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yours is 2.5 months old. Jimmy will be a certified trained dad by the time Guntersville gets here. He can babysit both the kids while you go to scooters.
I mean, I've already got another kid. I'm certified already, so I could.
Yep,
I could.
Yeah. That's the way it should be.
That's pretty fucked up thinking, but I could.
Or, I mean,
you got a daughter, right?
Yeah.
How old is she?
12.
Dude, she can babysit the kids by herself. You can
Oh,
coach
yeah.
them.
That's a good point.
Golly,
Now
Yeah,
we're
dude.
thinking.
Point.
This is big brain.
It's
moves
fun to
here.
her. Yeah, it's fun to her, man. Golly.
Here's two
Yeah,
screaming
we
kids.
got-
Dad's going fishing. Peace.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
this figured out. Yeah.
We back
Golly.
Monday.
You kick
Yeah,
Steve-O
so-
20, he'll check in on him. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna bring him up and find out where y'all are hanging out for the
Again.
tournament, and just be
You-
like, "Hey, y'all like
I've
kids?"
I got the tournament headquarter address for Gunnersville already, guaranteed.
Slash
Swim in the driveway
daddy
and just,
daycare.
yeah, I'll give you the door
Start
code.
a daycare business that travels with these events where everybody
That'd
can
be
drop their
hilarious.
kids off there.
Revolutionize the system there.
Yeah.
Gotta get that participation numbers up.
For kids and dogs. That'll be my thing.
Kids, dogs, and the wives. I mean, you can stick
Yeah.
them out there
The
too.
whole thing.
Well, I was
I
getting ready
love
to say we'll set some sort of record for wives and females and others showing up to kick everybody's ass for dragging kids out of the
That's
house.
true. That's true.
Yeah. It'd
That'd
like
be
some
something
kind
for
of
your camera boat to get a picture of anglers getting their asses kicked at the boat ramp when they get back.
this big angry mob. Yeah. There's a couple of stories about some of our beloved Georgia
Ooh,
anglers
Gunnersville.
disappearing, and then the wives like, "Hey, where are they at?" I mean, it was, they got back to the boat ramp and partaked a little bit after a tournament, a little too much to where they had to leave the keys in the glove box and sit around for several hours. And,
Oh no.
yeah, nobody could get a hold of them because of cell signal. So,
We've had, I think, not to discourage anybody to fish Gunnersville, we've had like 2 shooting events on Gunnersville and tournaments, haven't we, so far?
yep. Pistoles
Didn't hear
coming
this.
out. Yeah. So we're fishing Gunnersville, TVKA, NACA one year, and I was on the phone with Lambert. They were fishing Dardanelle, Hobie, I think it was, and I get a call, and I said, "Let me call you right back," and it was John Doe. Y'all know him. We'll talk about it later. Don't put the name public. He says, "Hey, man," and I'm fishing the same creek as him, about too far away to go see him. So he says, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, I don't know what to do. I had these boaters, the boats got in on him. The big bass splash was down there.
Yeah.
So the boat came in on him. He was like, 'Hey, man, what are y'all doing?' And they're like, 'Whatever, stupid kayakers.' So they cut him off and they start throwing at him, antagonize him. So he's casting, at them, like trying to hit their boat, like get away, because people don't stop and think. It's scary. You could flip and have a heart attack. And so,
Oh, yeah.
so they start ramming him with a trolling motor. And if I can remember the story correctly, and they're about to flip him. And he has, he's a veteran. He has, and he loses his composure and he pulls his pistol out, shoots it in the water 3 or 4 times. And so they take off. So he says, "What do I do?" And I'm immediately like, throw the gun in the water.
Old school Steve comes out where he's like, "All right, cover your tracks."
Yeah.
They were from Iowa or Illinois or something like that.
Yeah, out of state. And I said, "Did you get the boat?" And because like we talked about, I mean, you raised in the ghettos and the hollers. The first thing is fight or flight, And so, so I tell him, I said, "Give me just a minute and I'll call you right back." I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I'm fine, man. I'm just a little shook up." I said, "Put the pistol up, don't have it out, And he's like, "Okay." So I call Russell Vandergriff. He's a game warden in Tennessee that fishes TVKA with us. And so I call him and I said, "Hey, man, here's what happened." And so what's the guy down at Bucks Island?
Jeremy Chapel.
Doggone it. No, the other guy. He used to be like the Hobie rep or something. Matt Brooks.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is it Brooks? I think isn't he a cop or something? Or is he
I think so.
Yeah. So, but there's Gunnersville has a Marine police, not like Leatherneck, but like Marine, like water, Marine life. And so I call him and he says, "Hey, man, let me get a hold of Matt. He'll know what to do. Gunnersville's got that police force or whatever." So they call back and I said, "This man is at, X boat ramp. He'll be there waiting on you, And so I called him back and said, "Hey, the cops are coming. They need to get a statement from you. I went ahead and let them know that you were scared for your life and you need to make certain you let them know that these people were trying to flip you." And I explained to them that when you're in a kayak, if you fall in the water, it's the same as falling anywhere. You're scared because you can drown, you can have a heart attack. and that you shot in the water clearly away from them, and that they took off. And so they called the tournament director and said the like IA, whatever it is, Iowa boat letters, and the people never came back. They just went straight to their trailer.
Oh, they got their first taste of an Alabama redneck real quick.
That's it. Yeah, and so that was something else right there.
I give him credit for being composed enough to shoot the water. I'd have shot a hole in the boat.
Yeah, no kidding.
If I've got mad enough to pull it out, I'm going to use it in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Like,
whoa, phrasing.
Yeah. That's why you got baby boy on the way.
That's valid too. That's valid too. I walked into that one.
So did she.
That's why I love having
they just keep coming.
Golly.
Yes, so did he.
There's something like this happens every time I have Steve on.
Yeah, let me put my professional hat back on.
Oh,
here
hell with that.
Yeah.
Well,
we're 3/4 of the way through the schedule here.
Once we're off the shooting tangent, we'll get back to the Bassmaster Kayak schedule. So leaving Lake Gunnersville, July 27, 28. You hitting Susky
no
back
bullet holes.
up. No bullet holes.
Yeah. So after you fight your way off of Gunnersville, we're gonna get away from some of the ugly. Nobody likes fishing June. We're gonna go up north to Susquehanna.
Nice.
Interesting thing about Lewisburg is that last TBKA Gunnersville NACA tournament we had. I was on the phone with him pre-fishing, the tourism bureau director up there, and I'd given him social media links and people's names and stuff. Watching some anglers, we probably had 30 people signed up for this tournament when he called and said, "Hey, we talked about you guys coming back, the next year. I want to go ahead and offer that contract to y'all, just based off of the buzz he saw off the internet, and social media. So thank y'all." And they asked, do they think we would come in the spring more? And so that's how this came in July. Now, had I known October would have done what it done this year, no, we'd be back in October. But
there's something about, I was saying it when we said it a few weeks ago, I think, is that like something about like the rivers in the fall and kind of the winter, they kind of fish a lot better, I think, than most of the time in the summer.
Right.
Like they go through their fall transition a lot faster and they start doing their thing.
So but we and so then and I explained to you guys a little bit when we got there. Man, it was amazing. We all make fun of Northerners and but dude, they were like us down here. Everybody was so welcoming. They were just over the moon at everything that we all were able to bring up there with the anglers. So we're going to go back up there, and there's a couple, there was one Hobie event in the past recently that had, quite a few good fish caught still that time of year. Mm-hmm. And then absolutely going to skip all the yucky summertime fishing everywhere. And there's not a lot of places. Yeah. Not a lot of places in the country that fish really good in October. Like, we know Gunnersville still fishes good in October. There's just not a lot. We got lake drawdown starting in some areas. So, listening to the anglers that we talked to, everyone said you have to go to Caddo and Bistineau. It's probably one of the top 3, if not the best, fall low water fishing that you can do down there. And we've all seen the KBF National Championship numbers, the Hobie numbers. People, there's monsters living there. Yeah. So we
do they have a drawdown? I don't think they have a drawdown there, do they? Because it's like a natural lake.
I think it's natural drawdown. It's just the lake level does kind of drop in a little bit. It's what Adam Reiser was explaining. Need to get him back on soon. I miss Adam, but
yeah, I do. I was thinking the other day, it's been a minute. I usually have him on a few times a year, and I haven't got to hang out with him none this year.
Yeah. He's got the TOC up here on Chick in a few weeks. The Hobie TOC. I'm actually going fishing with him Tuesday on Del Hollow. So,
oh man,
yeah.
Well, one of you is going to catch something nice. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so that's where we're going to close the season out. And that's 5 And I didn't do it on purpose, but when you look at them, those are power fishing lakes. I mean, they just,
absolutely.
You're not going to have many people out there live scope. You can do it on PK. They surely did it. You can do it on Mer. You can do it on all of these except for Susquehanna. But, by and large, these are lakes where I feel like, I'll say it after the fact. I feel like when I looked at these, everybody has a great chance of catching a lot of fish at these bodies of water with all the unique styles that they're capable of. So
or a Cinco against a cypress tree on Caddo. So
I was about to say, so that's might have
fun.
Somebody have it on a chatterbait, but it's going to be a Cinco.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
We had what's his name?
You ruined it
on earlier this year, was it? I should know because I stayed with him at Chick.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Armando? No.
I can't remember.
That's what it was. Rolando
Nandine? Rolando Nandine?
Yeah,
he's great.
He was flipping a jerk bait up against those cypress trees.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep that in the back pocket.
He did it. He did it there, and he did it one other place because I remember talking to him about it. Yeah, just completely like oddball style, but worked for him.
We got a guy like that.
Yeah,
he got a jerkbait tied on all times.
No, that's what he was doing. He was flipping a jerkbait, not a chatterbait.
That's what I said.
I thought you said a chatterbait.
No,
he's flipping a jerkbait. That's right.
Yeah. Jerkbait.
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it.
Well, it's an awesome schedule, man. I think y'all did a good job, and I think from the things that get said around in the past, and everybody's always like, "When's the schedule? When's the schedule? When's the schedule?" Well, you just skipped that whole step this year. Like nobody got to even ask.
Schedule been done. Yeah. I had that schedule done 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and I was literally waiting. Susquehanna. Part of the beauty and the struggle of a lot of this is we're going to areas like that chamber had never hosted fishing tournaments. So they had no insurance coverage, had no idea about tournaments or anything. So I got them with our insurance company that I have. And then they walked through and built the plan that they need. That's why last year took so long, was waiting on, that, because it took 3 months to develop that relationship and get them bought in. And then this year, the insurance changed, so I had to wait on that. And then Andrew is our guy up there. He went to Rome on like a 3-4 week vacation, which was great. But it put everything on hold because I wanted this schedule out a long time ago. But it didn't need to be. It came out at the perfect time, I guess. But yeah, and we're all, both of us. We're all
seasons are all wrapping up, and they're not really totally thinking about next year yet, but they kind of are. And now it's like, now I'm excited about next year.
Again, you're not going to get to go, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I can be excited about it still.
That's right. Hey, you got stuff to talk about, people to bring on the shows. So.
Oh, yeah. We'll have some off-season talk, maybe find our pick for an angler expert of each of these areas to go over. Kind of talk it over. Awesome job on that. And I know folks are super pumped. I've seen a bunch of positive feedback about it. There may be some negative feedback about it. I don't know. I don't subscribe to that bullshit anymore. So if anybody's talking shit, I haven't seen it. So
I think anybody that has a problem with it, it's just kind of, we didn't get to make it to their area, so I'd be pissed off too. It might not necessarily be their kind of fishing, so I get it. But like we talked about before, and you guys are dealing on Weiss Lake, people complain. Hey, at the end of the day, man, just show up and fish against each other, and somebody's going to win the money. Exactly. And then I get it. None of us want to get up and go fish a lake we don't want to go to, but like we talked about, on our team, that's just what you have to do. You have to go fish fisheries that aren't ideal, because let's just say we wake up tomorrow and we can't get contracts at good lakes. We have to go to, less than territories. Well, that's what we'll all do, and we'll have fun on the road, so. Yeah,
it's you even if you have a bad day of fishing, you usually still have a good trip most of the time. I mean, there are, but you just get out and enjoy yourself, man. And it was explained, I saw some guys, you mentioned the Lake Weiss thing. I saw some guys talking about it. this week about how it's just fishing so bad and it's not worth the drive. And then a lot of the comments were like, well, that's cool. It's just one less guy I have to compete against. Like,
that's right.
Somebody's going to win the money, and it may be on a terrible bag, but it's still, enough to win some money. So, and it'll be a fun time. The same thing with any of these. And if you didn't get at an event in your area, take a vacation, take your one trip a year, go out that way. I'm sure you can go to any of these areas and make a family trip out of it and then just fish a couple of days.
Yeah, I might go on my birthday to Possum Kingdom.
Yeah, there you go.
It's April 20th, so maybe make that happen.
Well,
cross my fingers for it.
So we've got the Bassmaster Kayak series wrapped up. We're all looking forward to that. But now we're gonna let old Sassy Dan step in, and we're gonna start talking about the schedule drop that he's got for us. I just posted that graphic up so Sassy Dan can take it away. We got the Tennessee Bass Nation Kayak Anglers schedule drop for 2024. What do you got for us, man?
Well, so we did 7 events last season. We've had a lot of buzz around it, and Steve-O came to me. He's like, hey, can we do 10 in a championship? I was like, I'll be worn out, but let's do it.
You're making more work for yourself, but
hey, it's fun. I mean, the turnout, the anglers. I think we've had about a 61 angler average at every event so far. I mean, we've had a couple in the 90s. That's been pretty fantastic. So most of these lakes, so we've repeated. We're doing 7 events that we did last year, and so we're coming back to them. So a lot of folks will have some familiarity to those events, and we've added a couple new ones. We didn't have Kentucky Lake on the schedule last year. It's back on the schedule this year, but hey, it's coming back. And I will tell you, so the last event that we had there was a ton of people that caught limits and caught some bigs in there.
Yeah, that's me talking crap. We covered some Kentucky Lake stuff, and guys were really happy with how it was fishing compared to, the last year or 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Was that year before last that you guys were at Kentucky?
Yeah, it was the year before.
I got last. Like 3rd or something in that one.
No one cares, Jared. You're just looking for a plug. We know you're good, but you don't fish anymore, so it's okay.
So number 1 on the schedule, this one's like a soft spot in my heart. This is 3 years in a row, and we've come back to Del Hollow to open it up. And and I'll go ahead and tell everybody, if you can pre-fish early for this one, it is, you're going to be the only one that's in the back of this slough with no houses, no dogs, which may offend some people that like to fish, but it is just peaceful, phenomenal. And like I'm telling you, pre-fishing.
If you invite them all pre-fishing, daggone.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going where I'm going, so we'll just see. I hadn't done really good, but I will tell you, like pre-fishing, when you
pretty much the only people you'll see out there are the guys shiner fishing.
Yeah, they're literally shiner fishing long ass poles and floating fly and too early. So, and when you catch, and I'll tell you this, I haven't been to Susquehanna, but I've caught smallmouth in multiple different lakes. It was actually a year ago today that I caught a 21-inch smallmouth on nickeljack, but on the 19-inchers that you catch on Dale, like they fight like 16 inches you catch on Dale. They fight like demons. It's just like they make you work, and you don't know what it is till you get up to the boat. But the other thing is that they've got some big largemouth. There's always stories of locals up there that toss 6-pound largemouth up on the bank because they don't want to catch them. They're offended by them. But it's just such a phenomenal fishery, and I think.
And next year, I think the MLF is going out there.
That'll be fantastic.
Early April or something like that.
They had a tournament on there recently. We actually had some local local guides that run Talk and Tackle. That just went out there and blistered them. And I don't know if you noticed, but we're doing a repeat of a tournament of a place on the schedule because of some people that we're partnering with maybe this season. So we'll get to that in a second, but
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, Coldwater, we're coming back to Cherokee, and, that's another great lake. I mean, the couple times I've been out there, especially in the cold, it doesn't seem like it's heavily pressured, but another place where you can catch, a little bit of everything, and smallmouth included.
Yeah, I see a lot of good smallmouth coming out of Cherokee, especially in the winter times and stuff.
Just because we haven't touched on the dates for the people listening,
Oh yeah,
you heard us talking about, the cold water fishing. It's kind of like a hidden thing, and not a lot of people talk about it. A lot of anglers kind of get off the water when it gets cold, but I mean, the Tennessee Bass Nation and the Tennessee clubs have shown that Del Hollow just shines in the cold water. So that y'all start y'all season off late, December 16th. So right before the year ends.
Coming up, dude. We only got 2 months.
That's right.
Yeah. Right back
and
at
then, it. January 20th
for
Cherokee, and another like y'all were just saying that does really good in the cold water.
So with Dale, I mean, it's actually been kind of seasonably warm. So we moved it up a week, and we've always heard like the colder it is, and I've experienced it, like it's been spitting snow, ice, everything else, and you'll just see shad swarming and largemouth and smallmouth just attacking shad balls right in front of you. You don't need live scope or nothing. You just throw it in.
So the way Tom Kazmierski told me, him and Adam, he was like, if it's not miserable out there, it's not cold enough for the fishing to be on fire. Like, you want to go when it is just bad cold.
Yeah, so we moved it up a week, and then Cherokee's gonna be January 20th, still kind of cold water. And then February 10th, we're hitting Watts Bar, and I don't know if y'all got to fish the Hobie event. It was super cold there. I actually had a kayak froze up, but
yeah, I did. That was miserable.
It was miserable cold. I actually went to some place called the Steam Plant, and thank God, because I had my rudder caught. I had a native at the time, but I had my rudder caught to the side, and I was doing circles. I went out there, just went in that water. It was,
my handle was frozen for the first couple hours. I had to pour something. I can't remember what I even got, like a water or something that I found that was in my room that I was staying.
Sounds like you peed on it. You're making too much.
He's lying. Yeah, he stood up and just took a leak right there on that handle.
He just sat there with his pee hand on it the whole time.
I was desperate. Desperate times.
And hey, I don't blame you. And
I know, I mean, you wear gloves in the winter anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. Then of course, and not many people talk about this, but like Chickamauga cold weather, I have caught. Steve-O caught a 10-pounder, and we started out one day on Chick, and it was about that time, and I went to one creek and I caught a 7-pounder, and it, like, our eyes were freezing up and everything else. And then we grouped it. He said, "Hey, I know where we can catch a 10-pounder," and I'm like, "This is a story from hell." So we legitimately book it down 40 miles south of where we were at.
Well, he caught an 8-pounder that morning. So
it was an 8-pounder. So
we go into a creek, and he hadn't thrown an umbrella rig much or jerkbait, and I'm good at those. So we went to a pocket. We literally would make about 30 casts, clean off the shad every cast, and then boom, catch a 3-pounder. Mm-hmm. So he goes, like Daniel's like, hell, I'm just going to throw it in the middle of this. And there was a stick there, literally. He throws his umbrella rig right there, and I love watching him catch fish. He bowed up into that thing, and it was a giant on an umbrella rig. And he's like he's about to stroke, and because it was, he had caught some good fish, but not an 8-pounder. And it was amazing. And so we're already reckoning. We're pre-fishing for the Hobie in 3 weeks is what we were kind of doing. And so, but I had to tell the client he was going to leave that he caught an 8-pounder out that morning. So, yeah.
Dang.
And, Steve-O caught a 10-pounder. He called his shot and said, "We're going to go down here and catch a 10-pounder.
I'm waiting for that.
That one spot I fished 3 times for an hour and a half each. And my best 5 was 106 inches.
Dude.
Yeah. And of course, TOC gets here and it's a mud bowl. So,
yeah. So
everybody I talk to tells me that Steve's the king of pre-fishing. Like, Steve-O catches some donkeys.
He can do that.
Yeah. I thought, because I was talking to Kurt Smits, because he was coming down, going to stay in the area, and Jim Ware and Jim Clark and all them were staying in my house. And so I was like, guys, they're eating everywhere. They're eating a trap, a jerk bait,
Mhm.
umbrella rig, everything. And that spot itself, my B spot, I went and caught 98 inches in an hour and 15 minutes one evening, and then in like 2 foot of water. And then the spot Daniel and I were at, I caught 96 inches in like 4 or 5 hours one day by myself. And that day he and I went, you could put our best 5 together and it probably would have pushed almost 100 inches. I mean, we were just wrecking.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and that was south, almost middle, and north, above north middle. And
I'll
it
write
was
that
all
down.
different bodies of water. Yeah.
Yeah.
This stuff downloads to my
Yeah.
computer. I'll just go back and listen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking mental notes here. I got. Oh,
So
Well, you forget it was chick, so that's gone now.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, chick in the winter, you're going to catch some bigs. I mean, it just you're probably not going to catch a ton of quantity, but I mean, you're going to catch them. You're the It's
In March, I think you've got a lot of pre-spawn patterns too.
Yes. Yeah, they should be chewing a little bit. Then we're coming up on April the 13th. We're going to do Old Hickory. This is, we had Carl Black as for the last 2 seasons. They've actually sponsored our Angler of the Year and given $1,000 for the Angler of the Year prize. And so they're back again. And this is actually going to be one that's going to be, good special for them. So they're expected to be out there, and we're going to have a pretty good showing, in their area. So, they've been gracious enough to actually sponsor the Angler of the Year for Georgia Bass Nation and Tennessee Bass Nation. And, they're a phenomenal sponsor, and we're extremely gracious to have them for, a third year in a row. So
yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Old Hickory can be a pretty fun lake. It can be a little stiff sometimes, but
yeah, I've never fished it. It's probably one that I'm just going to direct and judge.
yeah. How do we lose you?
Oh, I think we froze up a little bit. I thought we all did for a second.
Yeah, I was like
Oh,
just
good.
trying to shift around.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've never checked out Old Hickory either. I haven't got out as much as I'd like to have with the Tennessee lakes.
Feedback.
Yeah, but I don't know
Hey,
what's happening. It's just like every couple minutes or so, it just freezes up. But,
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at Old Hickory. It's a good. There's a lot of different options there though. There can be some grass there. There's docks there, marinas, ledges, bluff walls, kind of standard Tennessee stuff, really. But,
Yeah.
could be pretty good in April. I don't know if I've ever actually fished it in April.
So then you've got that it's 2 weeks. So 2 weeks after that, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Del Hollow again?
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh, you say?
yeah.
Yeah.
Paddle
say.
Ben would be excited about a Del Hollow Ben on April 27th.
yeah. So we haven't announced anything about that yet because we just started talking about it basically. But
This morning, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something that I had as an idea last year, and me and Garrett talked about it. Me, Brian, and Garrett talked about it. I may have mentioned it to Steve, but we were originally thinking about trying to move the Paddle and Fin Open to December and try to do that with y'all in Tennessee Bass Nation. And we just didn't think it was going to work out. And then now y'all are going back, and we don't have any details yet, so nobody bother me about that. We're going to be working on it, but we're going to try to make everything work. But Paddle and Fin Open is going to be a double dipped event with the Tennessee Bass Nation on Del Hollow. So we hope to get these guys and our accommodations, hopefully, and y'all get to come hang out with us down at the barn, check out the venue that we get to put together, feed y'all up real good, tell y'all lies, all sorts of that good stuff. But
Y'all getting liquored up.
everybody that follows Paddle and Fin and comes to this event always has a great time. It's grown every year. Big shout out to Brian for everything he's done to really, put work into that. And Richard and all those guys at Eastport Marina have always been gracious enough to help us out with it and give us a place to do it. But I think it'll be really cool if we can get it all worked out together and do this all together. That way, there's no conflicting dates and schedules, and we can all have a whole bunch of people come to this thing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I think especially getting our schedule out this early. One of the things last year we had a couple of conflicts with some of the cast clubs, and I think we actually dropped some of these dates to some of those clubs ahead of time so that they could actually either do joint events with us or deconflict where they could. And it's going to drive attendance for us, especially. And there's a ton of people that missed out last season, but we had enough events. We're doing 10 this season. I mean, there's plenty for folks to be able to do. And, we're going to do a bit of a change for, at this midway point, I'll go ahead and bring this up, but we're going to do a bit of a change on how we're going to do Angler of the Year this season. So we have been doing, not really Angler of the Year, how we do the state championship. Previously, we've done the top 15 from each event. We've done roll downs all the way through. And then we did top 3 for the cast clubs. But this season, we're doing a little bit different. We're going to do the top 10 from each event. And then we're going to kind of mirror the Bassmaster deal and, kind of the Hobie deal. And we're going to do the top 50 for Angler of the Year. And I think it's going to drive a little bit more participation. We had some people that would jump in on one event just to qualify for state, and state championship special. It's always going to be special, and especially because we've sent, I think now, just through the Tennessee Bass Nation, we've sent, I think, 3 to 4 people that have actually walked across the Bassmaster Classic stage. And that is every time. And we actually had an angler that fished our state championship, qualified at Del Hollow, that actually walked across the stage. He had a choice between fishing, Queen City and, their classic or something that they had. And he chose ours just so he could actually qualify and get back. It's like a drug. They're just like itching, I got to get back, which is fantastic. But the grassroots stuff that we're able to do, it's, it's a little bit above grassroots, and it's kind of the great step in for anglers to jump into a Hobie event or a Bassmaster event, get that experience. And we're picking up, actually this season, we actually saw a number of people that said, hey, I jumped out of a bass boat, just jumped in the kayak, and this is the first event I fished in the kayak tournament. So we're gaining some folks from that as well. But
no doubt.
So, yeah.
It's a pretty good intermediary club. It's fun.
Yeah. Russ
the guy
Snyder's
who won it,
second.
Russ Snyder's, he qualified through Tennessee Bass Nation. So we had I think it was 8 out of 10 on stage this year made it from Bass Nation.
Oh yeah, it was a ton. And so it goes to show, I mean, if you can't make some of Steve,
some of those national level events
again.
Look at that look, screenshot that look. No, but further his point, if you can't make a Bassmaster, then you've got options within your state, because not everybody can drop that kind of money to travel, but we can put these on your home body of waters. Yeah, we can help put these on your home body of waters. We've already got established clubs in the area to help support it, so it's maintains itself that way. And then me and Daniel just show up and look pretty and make funny jokes, and people want to come back. So
for some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah. But like you guys, with the paddle and fin thing up there, that's something that is awesome. I know some people that fished at the last one we had, and really enjoyed it. And so by no means did we want to because we were going to go back to Tim's Ford that weekend probably. Because we loved it. We love fishing Tim's Ford. It reminded us of Del Hollow, dude. Yeah. And so, but thinking about it, I was like, you know what, man, nobody's going to be mad if we go back to Del Hollow, and we get to, you guys will reciprocate the advertising just like we will for y'all.
Yep.
And it's just the right thing to do. If we can, like the All American Kayak Series was coming one year, and that was my fault because I didn't write their date down in my calendar, but we ended up having an event the same weekend.
You missed something.
Yeah, no kidding. And so we ended up having a really good attendance in our event, and Theirs was
They
okay,
moved
but it
theirs,
could have been a
didn't they?
lot better. No, they ended up having it because I think you guys were on Douglas. One Terry or Brad did real good in,
Oh yeah.
and then they were on Kentucky Lake. So
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, May the 4th, we're coming back to Douglas.
Speaking of Douglas,
Oh, speaking of Douglas, right there, which that's a great fishery. Ton of fish are always caught there. I've judged the last couple ones there, and I've never fished Douglas, but I get to judge a ton of fish. And kind of a funny thing that happened, we had 3 anglers at the Douglas event that caught the same fish twice in completely different areas, but they were just absolutely chewing it, and had to call each one of them. I was like, yeah, you're right, that's the same fish. But so just tell you, they're a little bit dumb on Douglas, so you can trick them.
Good. I need to get some dumb fish in my life.
Then June 1st, we're going to Kentucky Lake. I mean, and after we did our did the state championship there through cast, I gained a lot of respect for that lake and what it's able to achieve and put out. We always hear it's coming back, and that there was a ton of fish caught in that event, a ton of 20s that were caught.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that you're going during their actual summer pool.
Oh yeah.
Thank Josh Stewart for that, because I reached out to him and Josh Stewart was like, beep, 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 beep. Make sure it's on summer pool.
100 mile an hour.
Yeah, I can see why. It could be kind of a tough place during their winter pool, which is it's only in summer pool for 3 or 4 months out of the year or something like that. So you only get a short window to hit it during that time. But you guys made the right decision there, I think.
And then
do what? What you cut out? What'd you say?
I said I think you made the right decision there.
He just wanted you to repeat that. You fell for it. Shit.
Damn.
I can't believe Garrett walked right into that.
I'm very gullible sometimes, man.
Yeah. So then July 20th, we're going to Pickwick, and I absolutely love Pickwick. I actually finished 10th there in a Bassmaster, so got to cash a check, and if you fished it, there's a little bit of something for everybody in every little bit of the area. You can catch smallmouth in the back of a pocket off of a cypress tree somehow in 3 foot of water, 3 foot of muddy water, by the way. And it's a different lake, and it's got something for everybody. You got the dam, you got beautiful pockets, cypress trees, grass, and it's phenomenal. I mean,
oh man, it's one of my favorite places, but it never fails that I always do good when there's nothing on the table.
You just have fun pre-fishing.
I've done really good pre-fishing for a Bassmaster event there, and then completely choke the next day. Go there one weekend and it'll just be on fire, have the exact same conditions the next weekend, and it'd be completely terrible for what I'm doing. So it's a love-hate relationship. I used to just completely hate it, but now it's my favorite lake to go try and challenge me. It's really fun.
There's
Josh Stewart, you got to watch Josh Stewart on that lake too.
Yep, Marshall now and Riser and
Adam Riser.
You got
to watch Riser everywhere.
That's the other great thing about fishing that the Tennessee Bass Station Club is that you fish against a lot of those guys that are great national anglers also. So you really are getting your training grounds, I guess, for fishing some of the higher up national trails.
There's no shortage of hammers in Tennessee. If you look at almost every national event, there's going to be a number of Tennessee folks that are in the top 10. I mean, they're just kind of built different, I guess. And but
I'll tell a quick Pickwick story before he gets back. So we're fishing the very first Tennessee Bass Nation on Pickwick, and me and Daniel's my best friend. We travel everywhere and this, that, and the other, and we're we backhand each other when we need it and the whole 9 yards. But So we're fishing in the same pocket with Riser, and Riser, you know, he takes us to his place. So Riser, he shows us where he's fishing, so we're respecting that. And so I'm fishing, throwing a chatterbait, and I catch a pretty good one. And then I scan a brush pile with about, I don't know, 8 or 10 fish on it, and I caught the pretty good one off of it. Missed 2, and then I hung up in the brush pile. So I broke off, so I wouldn't disturb the brush pile. And so I'm going to leave it alone for about 15, 20 minutes and then come back to it. Well, Daniel's coming by, and, you know, he's going on. I think he's going on to these cypress trees. And I almost said something, but I didn't. And then I turn around, and Daniel looks like he's cranking a freaking weed eater. Whoa. Whoa. Pulls the damn brush pile right out of the water. And I'm like,
you're welcome.
It takes disturbing the brush pile to a whole new level.
Yeah, I said, Daniel.
I will delete that brush pile.
Yeah, and he turned around like he got caught in the cookie jar. He said, What? I said, dude, that brush pile was loaded with fish. He goes, oh.
But he could have answered with, well, I got your lure back, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now get me that chatterbait out of there, boy.
Hey,
It broke my heart, but it was so freaking funny because the look on his face was just, it was great.
Yeah. Funny
awesome.
Story. I caught probably about 20 foot from there. I caught 8 fish and 30 cast and just like this 15-foot space there on Pickwick. And
they all moved over there.
Yeah, they moved to this one stick that was there, you know, a year later, thankfully.
Oh yeah, he went. Yeah, this
Still
was
there.
the next trip, not the same one.
He needed all the other cover and that whole pocket.
Daniel making homeless fish all across Tennessee.
Yeah.
So then we go to August 10th. We got another river event. I mean, and last year we had okay attendance at this one, but it's, to us, it's not about attendance. It's about a bit of diversity in the schedule and giving anglers, you know, kind of putting, you know, something that may be in their wheelhouse on the schedule. And yeah, there was a ton of fish caught at this one. And, you know, Josh Sharp took the win last year with, I think it was 93 inches off of this.
There was a lot of big fish caught in that too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you had the you know, normal river rats that were there. Josh Sharp was first, Jordan Marshall, Eric Thomason, Sam Beck had big bass there, Charlie Mills. Yeah, so it's just, you know, and I think it got a lot of anglers out of their comfort zone in fishing that event, and, you know, maybe got them to want to fish the river stuff a little bit more and stuff the open lake. But so we're coming back again, and the city of Knoxville last year was just phenomenal as far as the host on this one. And so that, I think they immediately shared every bit of the media there, and then, you know, pegged Steve-O and said, "Hey, when y'all coming back?" So yeah, that's our season closer. And so we're trying this, you know, we're going to the same state lake back to back, you know, for 2 years, and it gives a lot of anglers the familiarity of that fishery, what to come back to. So we're coming back to Guntersville.
All I know is I will not go back to anything I was at last time.
Yeah, so we're not really set on this one. You know, we got some events that, you know, could happen between that time. You know, the Cass State Championship could be held up in there, so we don't have a date set.
Yeah, and we're going to work on them. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and so we like to have a little bit of flexibility, but again, it's going to be Guntersville, and it's going to be fantastic. And
you get an idea of how it's going to fish with the KBF coming up. Is that this weekend, I think?
Yeah, they start tomorrow.
Championship.
Tomorrow.
So you'll get an idea of how it's going to fish in October/November next year.
I'm gonna do a little interlude here, and even if you don't follow KBF at all and you're listening to this, be sure to pay attention to the 10 and where it is, because it is something that is dear to a lot of people here, because it is a little gold mine, and now it's not going to be after this event, so I have no problem saying it because the whole world's going to see it as far as kayak fishing goes. But anyway,
so that's going to be our season closer, and we've had phenomenal participation. year after year so far. And I think this one, even jumping at 10 events, I think it's going to be good, especially with the deconfliction with the cast clubs.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got a lot of the directors that reached out and said, "Hey, I don't want to, we want to fish everything that we can." And, we had a lot of anglers that come from that. And, it's a joy to, be able to put something on like this and just tell the anglers, "Hey, all you got to worry about is fishing. That's all you got to do. Worry about you. We got this side of it." And it's a lot of what Steve-O's built for this and the model behind it.
Yeah, it definitely intrigues me. I like how many events there is, and like the road to, the Angler of the Year, the Classic, and everything like that. And I'm, like I said, I mean, I get to fish a lot next year, but that might be what I put my drop my hat in that and try to hit, pick 5 of those, because I mean, 2 of them will be super easy because they're close. I'm an hour from Pickwick and Gunnersville. I'll be up at Del Hollow, so as long as I don't have to run anything or help with anything, I'll be able to fish that one. So I might as well just grab 2 more, you know. So,
and I feel like those ones earlier in the season, like the December through March ones, are the easiest ones for me to make in my schedule, at least. There's not much else going on, so
might
as well.
Well, that's 2 season drops, folks, and that's a ton of information to go over. But I know everybody's excited about it, especially Bassmaster schedule drop super early. Everybody can go ahead and get prepared and get their, get.
I've got to throw 1 or 2 of those on my schedule and hope to that the cards fall in the right spot for that.
Yeah, and then. This looks like a really, really fun schedule for the Tennessee Bass Nation. And, I think the Tennessee Bass Nation, as far as the state nations go, I mean, y'all are killing it with that. I think y'all have probably the best put together state, obviously. I know Florida's doing some good work too, Georgia. But y'all, it seems like y'all are miles ahead on the state level stuff from a lot of the other state levels. And, y'all have a really good following there in the state to, it kind of helps it go along. So can't wait to see how this season goes for y'all, and appreciate y'all dropping it here with us. May have to pull a few tricks. We went over our hour and a half mark, so I can't remember it, but it won't upload to YouTube or Facebook correctly. But we'll make it happen. That's fine. It happened. I think we're the only people that do it. Especially since Garrett came on, because me and him will get off on tangents. It's like once a month that we have a show that's just too long. So it still gets posted. It's not as simple. But
it's kind of weird because Steve-O talked for 75% of it. So I don't know how y'all can put that on yourselves there.
I enjoy it. Whenever
Steve-O,
I have,
man, you're killing me.
I don't mind people that talk a lot, because I'm the same way. So I go ahead and throw all that time limit stuff out when I know I'm gonna have Steve on, because I know whether he gets off on one, I get off on one, or me and him both get going. It's going wherever it goes, So
as long as one of them's getting off on one.
I mean, obviously I can. So
yeah,
but
we got living evidence of that.
That's right.
Yeah,
but it's
I like to have an uninterrupted show with Tom Kazmierski and Adam Reiser and the 3 of us.
We did it. Oh, with all y'all, that would be
uninterrupted.
I'll do that one as a live. I'm dead serious. I'll set it up. If y'all want to do that, I'll do that as a live, because I don't know if Garrett was around yet, but I know me,
the nether floating around.
Me, Kazmierski, and Reiser did an episode, and you want to talk about information overload. You're just, because you like, we get off on tangents of stories about the past, and Reiser is going to dump knowledge on you. You're just like, it's just one of those mind-blowing episodes where you're just like, I suck at fishing. That's just what this is. I'm just ass, and he's not, but
maybe we'll dig that one up and share it out before Del Hollow.
I really
bring it out of the archives. I think it'd be great.
Bring it out of the archives.
I'm gonna make a note of that. I bet you. I'm pretty sure I remember what time of the year it was too. But no, that'd be a good one. I really do. If y'all ever think it'd be fun, we could do that going into the off season. Get y'all 2 Tom and
That'd be a good
Rise are
time.
on,
Yeah.
and I'll just run it live, and we'll just see what happens. It'd be great.
Let it go where it goes.
But
Cool.
yeah. So
Thank all of y'all for letting
Yeah.
us come on.
Yes,
really,
absolutely.
really appreciate it. That we don't get to put this out here unless we get to y'all and talk. It's easiest to do it that way. So, and y'all do a great podcast. Y'all have from day one. Everybody that y'all cycled in has done great. So.
Yeah, I hate that it seems like it's slowed down for us a little bit here. It's just everybody with paddle and fins got a lot of going on right now. We got family troubles and babies popping up and new careers left and right for all of us. And it seems like I've been making a comment. It feels like we've taken the foot off the gas a little bit, but I don't think we're going anywhere. It's just kind of a slowdown for a minute. But I'm sure everything's going to continue on just fine, and we'll go into next season hyped up and get it going again.
Got me wanting to put that gas pedal to the.
Oh, I'm telling you, like me even knowing that I'm probably not going to get to do much of it. Like when I saw the post, I was like, oh yeah, start like get my notebook out.
Yes.
I'm going to this, and no, I'm not going to these. But we love having y'all. You on, Steve, Dan. It was great. Glad to have you on. I've got to talk to you a couple times before. You're a great guy. I knew it was going to be a fun show, and again, congrats on making these clubs and these events. What y'all do a great job, and we're super happy to share any information y'all ever have for any of that stuff here. We don't mind it at all. Garrett obviously is fishing with the Tennessee stuff a lot. We both fish with bass, and we both love you guys and what y'all have done for the sport. And we're always here
for you, Jimmy, if you want it.
I'll put it on. As long as it doesn't have Tennessee colors on it, so I can wear it. If you have the Tennessee orange in there somewhere, I'm going to burn it.
That's next season, yeah.
But, yeah, well, again, we appreciate y'all coming on, and we hope y'all have a good off season, good rest of your year, and we'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, good luck on next
season. All right, man. Good luck on the baby and everything.
Appreciate it. I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
See y'all.
See you. All right. Well, that was a fun episode. Love having Steve and those guys on, man. It's always a fun time. Super excited to see about, like, you look back a couple of years and you've seen a lot of the not negative. I mean, some of it was negative, but we're just wondering like what Bassmaster was going to do. It seemed kind of stagnant. You had participation woes, and then to what it is now. And now there's no question.
I think it's really, like we said earlier, it's like really flourishing under his management.
Yeah, it took a big 180, and then a lot of respect goes to him and AJ that they work together on this stuff. AJ is doing Hobie and Steve's doing Bassmaster, but they work together as much as they can to make sure there's no scheduling conflicts, hit as many areas as they can. Like he was talking about uniform rules, they're trying to dial that in so it's as similar as possible, and that just makes the whole sport better for everybody. And as much negative as we can keep out of it, as much drama as we can keep away from the sport, I think kayak fishing will continue to flourish. I mean, who knows with this economy? Maybe kayak fishing may get even bigger because people are going to be too broke to run bass boats for too much longer.
That gas bill is going to rack up quick.
Yeah, but
and even even in the downturn, I guess, of the economy, somewhat this year, you still have seen a pretty solid attendance level for the series.
Yeah, you have,
if not better. I mean, he said it earlier, 86% growth from previous season. That's pretty significant.
And you not to get all political about it when it's talking about the economy stuff, but
it does matter though.
It does, but it's people talking recession. It's still
interest rates.
It's a trending recession, so it's the trending pattern. So we haven't seen those effects yet. So there's still plenty of time to grow this stuff. And I mean, kayak fishing to me is a poor man's sport. You don't have to be rich to do it. I've had my ass kicked by guys in Pelican kayaks with no electronics tons of times. There's NACA guys that have had their butts kicked by a guy in a float tube. Like, it doesn't matter. You can get out and fish just about however you want. There's kayak club or fishing club that will fit you. I promise. If you find one you don't like the rules of, talk with the directors, or go find one that fits. I mean,
Yeah, they're out there.
There's tons of them. And they're popping up every day. So, yeah. Well, that's all we got for you this week. Shows ran long enough. We were glad that you were here to hang out with us. We'll be back here next week. It's going to be spotty for me. I know it's been spotty for me lately. It's just, I'm busy, man. I'm doing my best to get back to being here all the time. Still trying to find time to start back up the final cast. And because it's funny enough, the guys that are pushing at me the hardest are the guys that were doing it. They keep bugging me like,
they're like, "Where's my old show at?"
Yeah, Brad's like, "Man, I want to listen. Like, well, hurry up." And it's just, I mean, had some setbacks. I'm trying to get my mind right. I'm sure it's still coming, but and I mean, having the kid. I mean, once the stress of having a kid is over and the kid's here, and then that's taking up all your time, that stuff will be my escape. Is getting back to fishing, getting back to content creation, because I've dropped the ball on that real bad. I mean, I don't think I've posted on Instagram in 6 months. Like, I haven't done any videos. This GoPro has not left this room. Well, no, it went to iCast, but
that reminds me, I got some Delta footage I gotta pull off of there.
But yeah, hopefully next week will be KBF championship winners. Probably separate the 10, so we can have 2 shows instead of one just packed show.
Yeah.
But it's the timing of how they're doing it this year, I feel like, is different. No, they always do it Thursday, Friday, because it's a Thursday, Friday, and then the 10 is Saturday, if I remember correctly, because I know it's the same day as our state championship. So yeah, but it wouldn't matter because you have to qualify for that event anyway. So can't wait to see who comes out on top on that. I have my early guesses.
Rhymes with bus.
Yeah. And then Christine's fishing it, and Christine's good on G.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of hammers down there for that one too.
They're getting a little bit of curve balls though. They got some cold fronts coming in. Like tonight, it's like 40 something degrees. And
I mean, it frost here last night.
Yeah. So
so that it's going to shock everything. But even when I went out on the water last week or whenever it was, we had some cold nights before that, and I still had 77 degree water temp.
Potentially in a good way is what I'm.
Oh no. Yeah, good. Like may psych you out mind wise, but I think that it'll be, if you can find the place away from the eelgrass, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about winter drawdown on Gunner. So I don't care what anybody says. That lake drops like a foot. That's it.
I think I looked at it historically. It's like, I think 8 inches.
Yeah, me and you looked it up this spring because we were curious about it. It does now, that 8 inches, some of those creeks do come out of play.
Yeah, for sure. They make a difference, but
it's not drastic. Like you go down to Warrior and there's 20 foot of bank, and it's nothing like that. So it'll be a fun event. There'll be some, I mean, it's Gunnersville. I can't think of a tournament ever kayak wise that there's been a tournament on Gunnersville that has not had like 89 inches, 88. Like that's still a decent day on Gunnersville.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun time. But all right, folks, well, we're going to leave it with you. Thanks if you're still stuck around with us this long, which if it was since Steve-O and them were on, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it as always. We love y'all, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.
See ya.